All right, I'm Josiah, and today we're going to look at the Miami Dolphins head coach interview, early training camp, and interesting spot for the Dolphins. You know, Mike McDaniels is now out. This is a rookie head coach, Jeff Hafley coming in. Not gonna lie, y'all, I loved Mike McDaniels from the outside looking in because he's just so smart, and I love smart head coaches. It just makes me so much more interested in what they have to do and even say. But, the team didn't do as well, but they had a lot of injuries too. And so, let's see what Jeff Hafley has to say.
We're in Florida. What do you expect? Did everybody have a good vacation? What'd you do to your arm? Oh, I thought like you had a big gash or something in there. What a way to start it. You drop your hat and you come out with the full, yeah. No, that would be non-football. I got good news for you.
Hmm?
Everybody passed the conditioning test. You're welcome for that information. I know that was going to be your first question. All right, let's go.
Tell me about this time of year for you as a coach. You know, I guess the fans, it's kind of like Christmas or first day of school. What is it like for you as a coach?
I guess it's probably the same thing. I mean, usually by the time we were finished with OTAs and, getting ready for vacation, I think we all needed it physically, mentally. The players certainly physical, the coaches mentally. And then you go on vacation and, pretty soon towards the end, at least for myself, you're usually excited and ready to go again. Fresh mind, rested, and just it's what we do. So excited. It's real football. The pads will eventually come on. You're not just gearing up for, OTAs, you're gearing up to playing real football games. So there's a level of urgency, there's a level of excitement. It's what we love to do, and it's why we do it. So I can't wait, and it's good to be back in the building.
There's a whole different energy here. Jeff Hafley, for those of you who don't know, he was a defensive coordinator for the Packers, defensive-minded guy, which is what I think the Dolphins need, low-key, because their defense has been very suspect the last couple of years. So I like the approach he has so far.
What sort of message do you think was sent to the team of HN and Brew and JB, as well as, how do you hope this kind of helps the team?
Yeah, I think it sends a really positive message. And I think Sully did a really nice job, the timing of it and, the communication of it. One, production, right? If you're here and you do a really good job on the field. Two, you do things the right way. You're a good teammate. You're a good person. You make good decisions on and off the field. You'll be rewarded. And I think that's a very clear, very good message to send the younger players on this team that if those things happen, there's a good chance that, we'll take care of them and we'll want them around. And we'll want to build this through guys that we see do that. So congrats to those three. I think they've earned it. I was excited to talk to, HN was done before we left, but Brew got done shortly after, and then Brooks was after that. So I was excited to talk to them. They deserve it. And as a coach, when you see a player get rewarded and can take care of himself and his family, that's a really cool deal. Because sometimes, you got to take a step back and think about the lives that are changed, right? And those are important.
Yeah, question was just about, hey, how do you feel about morale with your main guys getting paid? And it was good. That's what you should expect as an answer there.
What would you say is the single most important thing you want to get across to your team on day one?
Better question.
Getting back to how we want to practice, the competitiveness, eventually the physicality, which we'll still have to wait until pads come on. But I want it to be competitive, and I want them to feel a sense of urgency in that.
Typical answer.
Some first-year head coaches and first-year new team head coaches that have had immediate success in the NFL. I don't know if you've studied that at all, but is there anything that you can apply during studying that you can apply to this team to have immediate success?
I think all those are different, right? Where are they at when you take over? Who's on the team? What the roster looks like? What the division looks like? There's a whole lot that goes into that. So no, I have not taken a lot into that. Rather, taken into going through our off season, figuring out who we are, who we have, what we can be good at, what schemes fit who we have and what we can be good at, and try to worry about ourselves. I've learned a lot from other coaches around the league, and I'll take a lot of that with me. and I'll have questions along the way. But that is not just, I'd be making it up if I told you I did.
Real, I like that answer because it's real. It's a real answer. But you would have liked to have heard, yeah, I did look at coaches who did come in as a first-year head coach and did have very quick success. And I found blah, 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 that I do feel like I can put into my own place. That's like the ideal answer. But his answer was fine. It does give off the energy of, hey, I know this is a project and I know we're not going to win instantly. And so I'm really focusing on our team to make it the best it can possibly be. So not a bad answer, but it does kind of tell you a little bit about where they are. Not because he didn't do the research, but because he kind of avoided everything around instant success.
Through whether to reference or not bother referencing sort of the national forecast and projections, or we're not oblivious to this. None of us have our head in the sand. So do you bring it up, or do you not so much?
Not immediately, no, but I think there will be moments that I will. I don't think now is the time for that. Now is the time for us to focus on ourselves and for our guys to go out and win jobs and for our coaches to put together schemes and develop and get ready to play. I think certainly there's a time and a place for that. I'd be lying to you if I just said we're going to ignore it. I'd rather not have that be the main focus because I think that kind of goes in one ear. You get fired up for a couple minutes and then you leave and it has to become real again. So I think there's bigger things to talk about, foundations to build, and maybe if we need a jolt here and there, throw it at them, but nothing I'm concerned about right now.
Valid. I don't hate the argument. The question was really focused on, hey, are you saying, like, everyone knows we're one of the worst teams in the NFL and we're projected to be one of the worst teams? Yeah, you can be like, oh, we're going to overcome that. But that's like a high that eventually will leave. If we focus on, like, hey, this is what we're doing, we want to go about things the right way, blah, 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 makes a lot more sense.
When this fan base looks at this team, whenever they have their availabilities for the 7 weeks leading up to the regular season, what do you hope that they see from the Jeff Hafley Dolphins?
Practice-wise?
Practice, exhibition season.
Yeah, I want them to see a physical team that lays it on the line, that plays together, that has fun together, and that can execute without making a lot of pre-snap, post-snap mistakes. A smart football team who plays as hard as they can for as long as they can and enjoys playing together. And that's really important because those are the things that we can control.
Jeff, it's a big rookie class in both size and importance to the team's future. What did you take away with or from how they arrived back to training camp and back to the facility last week?
Yeah, I mean, they look good. They've been working. And as far as, what we did with them, it was all meetings and in the classroom to try to get them a head start, bless you, try to get them going, reacclimated to the playbook because a lot of it's still new for them. But other than that, I mean, watching them in the conditioning test today, I think give us about 4 or 5 practices before we kind of get a view on what they look like and how they came back. I mean, again, I don't want to sit here and make anything up. We were in meeting rooms with them and talked to them, and they look good. It looks like they worked out, so that's a positive. That's right.
Real, man. I like that. I like that mentality. Because a lot of times you hear a lot of fluff around like, oh, I like the way they walked into the building. They had a lot of confidence. They've done a lot of research, blah, 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 blah. He's like, they showed up. They've been working out. We move on. There's a lot more to prove. I like that mentality.
In regards to Chris Bell's eventual return to practice, just so we don't ask every day, are we looking more...
You're going to ask me every day. That's okay if you do. No, just ask.
Are we looking more at months than weeks?
Months and weeks. I think that's up in the air. I think he's in a really good place right now. And we'll see, but I don't think it's like way off in the distance. All right. But I am excited where he's at. I can get a smirk on my face and have some optimism there. He's worked really hard. Our training staff, Kyle and those guys, and Todd have done a great job with him. I think he's had a great summer, and he's in a good spot. You're going to see him run around out there. Did the conditioning test today with the team, so we'll see where it goes. I just, as much as there's optimism and I get excited about where he's at, I think we also have to be careful. So we'll continue to work through it.
Chris Bell's an exciting rookie receiver from Louisville who has a ton of upside potential, but he's battling an injury, and no one really knows when exactly he'll come back. And coach was very straightforward. We have no idea on when he'll really be coming back, but he feels like it's not as far as some people have expected. Some people thought he might not even play a down this season at all, since, the Dolphins, in theory, don't have too much to play for. But it sounds like Jeff is a little bit more optimistic that he will see the field some this year, and that he's already doing conditioning, which I think will surprise a decent amount of people.
Storm Duck and Daryl Baker, same question.
They'll be a little bit further off. They'll be further off down the road. At some point this season, I see them coming back.
And Austin Jackson, we didn't see him in 11 on 11s at the end of minicamp. Is he?
He's back. He is back.
Jeff, you told us
That's the right tackle. He's smiling because you need your starting right tackle.
the off-season program that you wanted to keep Caden Proctor at left guard just to not overwhelm him too much. Does that apply for training camp as well?
Yeah.
Cross-train?
No, he's going to start off at left guard and try to get good at one position. I think that's fair to him, and it's the best thing. Ultimately, we need to do what's best for our team. In this case, I think it's best for him, and I think it's best for our team.
Talking about Caden Proctor, that's their rookie that they drafted, and he's going to be playing left guard. That's exactly who he's talking about.
So that's what we've decided to start, and we'll go from there.
During the spring, we saw Malik start to build a rapport, chemistry with the receivers. What do you want to see from him during camp, but also at what point do you want to start to see real progress with the chemistry between Malik and him?
I saw progress in the last couple OTA practices, and what I saw was his confidence started to go like this. It was, not just the reps with the players, but it was the reps of the same plays over and over again, and just building those cumulative reps that, he started to feel comfortable with more plays than he did when he started. I think the key for Malik will be it is his confidence, and it is his chemistry with those wideouts, and we need to figure out exactly who those wideouts are and what the chemistry is going to look like. But I want to see his confidence, and I want him to focus in on that and let me take care of the rest. But I'm excited for him. He worked really hard this summer. He was in Jacksonville a bunch training. He had a bunch of the receivers running routes, running the plays with them, holding workouts out there, which was really cool to see him kind of lead that charge. So we'll see.
That was a question about Malik Willis. Malik, relatively young quarterback, really his first time being the guy since he's been drafted. And so it's not surprising that the biggest thing that they're focusing on is his confidence. He played a little bit last year in a couple of games with Green Bay, and he was very accurate. And, he doesn't have the biggest arm, but if his confidence is there, he's willing to take more risk. And so it makes a ton of sense that right now Jeff's biggest concern is not accuracy, but like just confidence and making sure he's building upon that every day. And when you don't really know who your receivers are, because that receiver room is a train wreck, that's going to be a little bit harder. And so I'm glad they're focusing on just building him up. I'm a big Tutu Atwell guy, though, so I'm pulling for Tutu.
Confidence, do you mean like his command of the offense, stepping into a new role as starter, kind of a mix of everything?
A mix of everything. I want to see when he's at the line of scrimmage, there's no hesitation. I want to feel his confidence. I want to see his confidence. I want him not to be discouraged when he has a bad throw or throws an interception. I want him to step into that role and all of the above.
Which does mean we're not seeing that right now. Like, that does mean, like, hey, this is what I want you to become. And again, that makes sense for a relatively young quarterback. That's not a major red flag or anything.
So your plans for training camp include live tackling and anything?
They do. They do. Are you excited about that? They do.
Have the thinking in signing Cleveland Farrell?
Yeah. Just we were watching him on film and talking to Sully, a guy who plays really hard. Obviously, he was a high draft pick. I think it brings competition to that room. He's got good strength. He's got some good clips on tape, and hopefully we can get everything out of him. The more competition that we can bring in, I think you're going to see a lot of that as we turn through things and just see what we can get in him. But I'm excited to work with him. I've really only talked to him briefly because it just happened, but I'm glad that he's here.
The question was about Cleveland Farrell. I heard Cleveland, and I was like, who is he talking about? But Cleveland Farrell makes a lot more sense. He's a defensive end. He was a very early draft pick in 2019. When was he drafted? Pick 4, first round. He hasn't done much since then, unfortunately, but he's someone who, obviously was a strong prospect when he was younger. Guys like that still trying to find their place in the league. Might be his last spot if he can't make it work out here. But he's someone who can definitely have a little bit of oomph. He also wasn't on the field too much last year, but he did play. And he had some sacks in games against like Carolina and Cleveland, but not much outside of that. So just a guy who you really want to see get going, but the Dolphins have a decent amount of depth there.
The amount of one-year deals and guys trying to, make the team, how do you eliminate the me mentality? And along those same lines, do you empower your leaders to kind of focus on, or I guess kind of address like this team first mentality, or just how do you go about that?
I think everything we do, from coaches to players, has to be talked about team first. And I think that just like in anything else, when you have team success, you have individual success. Individual success without team success, in my opinion, is meaningless. And we don't want to build our team like that. At the same time, I mean, you're right. We probably have more guys on one-year deals than anybody in the NFL. So a lot of those guys, rightfully so, they're going to be fighting for their jobs. So there's probably going to be times where we have to have those conversations. And, I mean, that's our job to figure it out. I'm not just going to sit here and say that that's never going to happen, because that's not the real world, right? So we'll deal with it when it happens. At the same time, I think you're going to see a lot of guys playing and practicing at a very high level, pushing each other, competing with each other, because they know they're on a one-year deal. And for some of them, this is it. This is their shot.
And that's kind of what I meant with their edge rushers. The Dolphins don't really have anyone who's like that special. I don't mean they have a ton of really good talent. I just mean they have a lot of very similar guys, who are just going to be out there competing, which is what Jeff is saying.
Learned in a short period of time about Brooks and Brewer, who obviously the organization is now committed to. How does their approach help you set the tone for what you want here?
I think it kind of goes back to what we just talked about. One, production. They're very productive players. We're not just going to reward guys for doing everything the right way, practicing hard, being in the weight room, being great leaders. They're productive. They've had success, but on top of that, I mean, the way those guys go out and practice, the way they are in the meeting room, the way they are in the weight room, the way they take care of their teammates and look after their teammates and try to lead the younger guys, I think it says to everybody on our team, okay, if I go out and I can produce and I do things the right way, then I will be rewarded here. And I think that sends a very powerful message to all the young players on our team. I think that's very important. And again, I think Sully did a great job there.
Coach, the Dolphins were ranked #1 in the NFL team report card. How do you translate elite player resources into better execution on Sundays?
I mean, I take all of that with a grain of salt, right? I mean, all that report card, all that stuff is great. I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm concerned about, obviously, the support here. Mr. Ross and ownership has done an unbelievable job. All the resources, everything that they put into it, it's all there for them. And now we need to use all that, and we need to use this training camp to go out and get better and develop these players and have the results show up on the field.
So that Brooks drove to the facility to greet Jacob after he got drafted. Just how important is that relationship going to be moving forward?
It will be really important.
We're talking about Jordan Brooks, who's a linebacker for the Dolphins. He's the vet they were also talking about earlier. And then Jacob Rodriguez, he is the rookie, second-round pick for the Dolphins, who's also a linebacker. So they're talking about that relationship.
They also spent time together training this summer, which I thought was really cool, which when you guys get a chance, you guys can talk to them about that. Obviously, there's a connection there with where they went to school, right? So that's pretty powerful. They play they both are linebackers, so they're going to be working together. But again, I think it relates back to your question. You get a guy who's a vet, and he could kind of probably go out and just do whatever he wants on his own, but instead he's bringing a guy along and trying to help him, which I don't think everybody does in this league.
Oh, that's rare.
There's some vets that are really good players that they come in, they do their job, they focus on themselves, they get their plays done, they work really hard, and they leave. He's taking an extra step on trying to help and bring along a younger player, which I think says everything about him.
Especially on defense.
Coach, Florida high school football started practice yesterday. Any advice for the kids stepping onto the field this year?
Enjoy it. A lot of football memories, right? I've been doing this at from college to the NFL, some of my best memories are still in high school with the guys you kind of grew up with, playing with, which is becoming even rare right now in college because your teammates are different teammates every year. So it's the one time where a lot of times it's the guys you grew up with, the guys you were playing in the backyard with, the guys you're now in the locker room with. Just enjoy it. It's one of the best times of your life, and I wish everybody good luck.
Jeff, how did you yourself prepare to lead your first NFL training camp as a head coach? Did you reach out to certain guys for advice, study things that you've seen in the past?
Don't give them answers.
Anything?
This summer, I rested my mind because I was exhausted. I spent a lot of time with my family. I think the biggest thing for me is always coming in with a clear head. I do some reading over the summer. It's the only time where I can do that. I have time, so sometimes I just look for, different ways to say things and what I want to say, but maybe different ways to say it. I talk to certain coaching friends and bounce ideas off of, but the biggest thing for me is that I have to continue to remind myself is I just want to be myself. And I think that's where people can get caught up, at least for me. Like, I'm just going to do this and be myself and kind of, bounce ideas off of certain guys, but I don't want to change who I am. I want to do it a certain way. I want to trust the guys that we have on this staff to help. I think we have a really good staff put together. Lean on them, get really tight with these players, and just be myself.
It's a new school coach for you right there, all about being authentic.
It's like a balance between, I guess, preparing and over-preparing.
Yeah, because here's what happens, right? It's all of a sudden I found this great idea or these great slogans or these great things that I'd like to do for team building, but deep down, that's really not you. And then all of a sudden you become someone you're not. And do you really believe in that stuff? So I'm going to do and preach and talk about the stuff that I truly believe in, so it's real, because I think that's really important. They feel that from me, so I'm just not BSing them and looking at a book and throwing up quotes that I don't even really know where they came from or what they mean. But sometimes they give you some good thoughts.
Is HN clear for full?
Ready to go.
What did you read?
I'm not telling.
What
Did you
kind
see
of books do
Odyssey?
you read?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't read.
The quick question they slid in there was, is Achan ready to go? And he was like, yeah, he's good, which is what everyone cares about. He's their star player on the offense.
Like storybooks, if that's what you're asking. I don't have time.
No romance novels?
I do like, no, I'm just joking.
Did you see Odyssey in IMAX? It was awesome.
No, you know what I did see? The movie? Can you guess the one movie I went? I did.
It wasn't a bad movie.
Why is that funny? You see, he went. Did you see it? I went and saw Toy Story 5. Did you see it, Ann? My kids were so excited to see it. It was actually very. Did you guys see it?
It was a good movie.
So yeah, some good lessons in that. You can find lessons and you can find thoughts in anything that you watch. No romance novels though. I had it on. Yeah, I had it on. As long as there was a TV, I had it on. Usually I like to check out like the last 5 minutes.
Same.
When it got really exciting. Root for those shootouts. But I always had it on. So it was fun to watch. I thought that was really cool.
Didn't go to any games here at the stadium?
I didn't.
They have bangers here at the stadium.
Did you go?
I did.
Was it fun?
It was real fun, yeah.
I probably should have went, but I was with my family and kind of just getting away. I'll be in the stadium enough to share.
That's fair.
Last question.
That's it?
Would you rather have a number one NFL PA ranking or a lower ranking in the Super Bowl appearance? Or is there a way where you can?
Yeah, I don't like in all due respect to the report card, I want to win. So they can grade me whatever they want. I want to win. And I want to do it the right way. That's the report card, right? So how we do it, how we build the foundation, how hard we play, how physical we play, how we grow throughout the way, how we develop these players, finding small victories and little things, like those are the report cards, right? And there's going to be some hard conversations with some guys that, we're not going to be able to keep everybody. There's going to be some guys that beat some people out, and I'm going to be honest with them, and not everybody's going to like what I say, and I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm going to tell them the truth, and there's going to be some people that might not grade me high because of, that's just, I don't care. I want to do it the right way and build this thing the right way so we can win. And that's what I care about. All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Not gonna lie, I didn't have a ton of context on who Jeff Haley was as a person or even as a coach, but I really like this interview. I tend to like defensive head coaches just because they have like that down to earth, little rough around the edges mentality that's always just more interesting for me to watch and easier to watch as you watch more of these interviews, as you try to find little pieces, little nuggets that can help you just know more about what this team is trying to do. And so, Dolphins, I feel like you have a good one. I feel like you have a good coach here. It's definitely going to be a bit of a project, but this is like a season where you just want to see growth and momentum in the right direction, have a couple of upsets or just some close games, and then you're like, okay, we're on the right path. But all in all, excited to see what y'all do. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. Let me know what y'all think about the Dolphins this year. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Anyway, peace out. I'll see y'all soon.